Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara T Designs, and today I have day 13 in my 30-day watercolor challenge. So here, let's jump right in. So as you saw, this one's really cute. It has a little lighthouse, and I'm going to be honest with you, I was really nervous about this one. I wasn't sure about drawing the little lighthouse. I wasn't sure about the colors because, again, this one had clouds, and you guys know, if you've been with me for any length of time, I've been really struggling with the clouds, but I think it came together pretty good. You'll have to tell me your thoughts as we kind of go along here. Now, I am following along with a tutorial that's on Skillshare. It's not sponsored or anything. That would be cool. But there is a link to the class that I'm taking if you want to check that out. There's also a link in the description to a free 30-day trial of Skillshare if you want to. That's just a link that's available. I don't believe I get anything from it or anything. So if you want to check that out, you absolutely can and should. And so for this painting, we're only going to use 4 colors. These are the colors I used. They are different from what the instructor used. I used Prussian blue, whereas she used indigo. Her indigo is a lot more blue than mine. Mine is quite gray, so I have to kind of adjust. And then we have the brilliant pink, which is a pastel, and then permanent red, and then I'm using indigo as my, she uses it as a gray. I don't. I use my indigo as my darkest color. So that's kind of what I have to do to alter this to kind of work for what I have for watercolors. So it's supposed to be a very moody sky and water. And it's supposed to have this like little lighthouse sitting on top of some rocks. You can see here we kind of we drew out the horizon line, which kind of gives you the difference between the sky and the water. And then there's the rock that the lighthouse is sitting on, and then of course there's just some little rocks that are in the water as well. So now we get to start, and I think that I'm starting to get a bit of a handle on how much water to add on the background. If you guys have been following me along with this little bit of a series with me practicing to learn a new skill, you'll know that I've struggled with that quite a bit as I've been kind of going with this. Learning how much water to use is one of the biggest things in watercolor painting, which totally makes sense. And it's funny because I don't think you realize it as you start, but it makes everything easier to work with. And it's just a huge learning experience for me. So the bottom of the sky you saw I painted above the horizon line there, and that is the brilliant pink pastel, which is by Holbein. And you bring that up from the bottom of the horizon line. And then I brought in my Prussian blue, and that's kind of going to be the dramatic blue in the sky. And they need to overlap a little bit, but not blend so much in this one. Because as I understand it, she wanted the sky to be very dramatic. So there's a little less blending, but I didn't like that I lost a lot of my pink that I kind of had just this little section there. So you're going to see me go back in and kind of fix it in a second. I'm going to add some more of that brilliant pink to kind of add it back into that little section that almost looks white now. But I think that it worked out really pretty. I like how the sky turned out. And shockingly enough, I actually like the clouds that I'm going to bring in here in a minute. I've been really struggling with the clouds. They've been difficult for me to add. For whatever reason, I never like how they look. They always kind of look odd to me. So in some of the paintings I've done before, I actually completely skipped the clouds because I didn't like how they looked. But I think I'm starting to get a handle on the water to pigment ratio for the clouds on the sky. And I like how these ones turned out. I think that they're kind of fun. They're very dramatic, but that was the intention. So I kind of love how vibrant this one ends up being, and I'm pretty happy with it. So we kind of do that cloud coverage. Now, if you guys have started a new skill, because you know that I originally started this because I really wanted to learn how to do watercolors, and you're supposed to do this class like 1 watercolor a day, but I have so much stuff going on all the time that I don't really have time to sit down and do a watercolor every day. I pretty much create every day, but it's a mix of, my card videos, or I'm working on another sticker designs. I also did some traveling recently. I was gone for a couple of weeks in July. So I haven't been able to really paint as much as I would like to, but that's okay. I think it's more important that you get in there and do it when you can, and you don't get intimidated, even though it feels like I think it's, you know, almost sometimes it's almost more than a month between me and the last painting and like the one I'm working on. So I start to feel like I've forgotten some of what I've learned in this, but I think it's okay. I think that I'm still picking up stuff every time I paint, and it's just fun. This one, I have to admit, was a little intimidating just because of that little lighthouse. And honestly, I ended up making my lighthouse gray. It's supposed to be white. So you're supposed to add that little bit of shadow on the left-hand side and then kind of drag it over. But I went a bit darker than I think you were supposed to. So my lighthouse ends up looking like it's red and gray, which, I mean, it's fine. It still looks like a lighthouse. So at the end of the day, I'm still pretty happy with it. And now every time I move to a new section, I have dried the old section. So like now I'm painting the red on top of the gray. The base layer of this is completely dry at this point. And I'm going to be honest with you, my lighthouse got a little bit wonky. That's okay. I still think it looks cool. It got a little bit wonky. So she's a little bit thick on the bottom, but I don't mind it. I still think it's super cute and it turned out pretty fun. So I don't know, you guys will have to tell me your thoughts on how this painting kind of came together, but I think it turned out pretty great. And I mean, realistically, there's only 4 colors here. So the class is also teaching me a lot about color mixing and like variation in colors and how to kind of create that. And I think that's really fascinating. So even though I'm struggling with some of these, I still think that I'm learning a lot and it's really enjoyable. So I'm hoping when I'm done all of the paintings that I'm going to take my favorites and I'm going to scan them and then turn them into postcards so that I can send them out to pen pals and they'll be available in the shop if you think that that's something you'd be interested in. You guys let me know your thoughts. Is there any of the paintings you like enough that you would want it as a print? My husband has claimed a couple of them for art prints in his office, so but they'll still scan them and have them available for anybody who actually like wants a copy of one of them. But I just thought that would be kind of a fun way that, you know, maybe you really liked one. One of my favorites is the sand dune one. I love the sand dune one. I think it turned out really pretty. So, you know, if you really loved one of them, maybe you would be interested in purchasing a print and being able to hang it on your wall. I have a wall that I've got art prints on from multiple artists that I admire. I think their art is stunning. So I thought that would be kind of a fun thing that could happen with this. Now, if you have a favorite, I will, like, when we're done, like, I still have 17 of these to go. This is going to take me a while yet. I don't think I'll be done this into probably like halfway into 26. Because I am planning on when I have a little more time, probably, you know, like November, when I have a bit more spare time after the market and after, you know, I have a vacation planned and, you know, my birthday's coming up and whatnot. After all of those things, I'm hoping I'll have a little more time. And then I'd like to sit down and paint maybe like 2 a week and kind of get them done and ready. And then I'll just continue to show 1 a month throughout just as like kind of fun. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. So you guys tell me your thoughts and what you think would be useful there. But I'd love to know as always. So this is kind of what we've got here. I've added a little bit of the rocks to the bottom. You can kind of see that I'm dragging them out. I'm kind of trying to create like a bit of a water look. Now in this, generally the instructor doesn't add white. So I honestly really wanted to go in with a little bit of white gouache and add some highlighting just because I think it would have really done it some justice to this painting. And I may still do. At this point, I left it alone because I need to walk away from the painting so I have a chance to kind of just look at them, if that makes sense, and make sure that I'm happy with it. But yeah, so this is this month's painting. I would, of course, always love to hear what you guys are thinking. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do mostly paper crafting content, mostly cards, although I really want to introduce some art journaling and a couple of different things on the channel. So watch out for that. And of course, Christmas in July is coming. That will start in October, so look forward for that if you like Christmas projects. But yeah, so I'd love it if you'd leave me if you can leave me a lighthouse emoji. I don't know if that exists, but if you can and you watched it all the way to the end, leave me a little lighthouse. And if that's not available, leave me like a wave or a cloud, something that kind of represents this painting. But I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on this one. Other than my lighthouse being a little bit wonky, I like how it turned out. It's very moody. It's very vibrant, and that's kind of something I lean towards. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thank you so, so much for hanging out with me. And if you are a member, thank you so, so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it. All right, I will see you guys again very soon. Bye-bye for now.